Alrighty, so we watched Darkman this week. Dave, what did you think of Darkman?
Well, I'm not sure if it was just my particular mindset with going into it, but I think for when it was made and just how it went about most everything, it was a typical action hero movie for the time.
Um, okay. I just want to point out, so I feel like this is necessary to mention. So you remember the first Batman movie from '89?
Oh, I have words about that, but yes, I know of that one.
So that movie came out a year before this, and had like
Hmm.
nearly triple the budget.
Yeah, yeah.
So I would say it's kind of it's a bit different than what you would have. I mean, you wouldn't have had a whole lot of options for comic book movies at the time, basically none. And I feel like this is fairly different from like a Batman.
Well, different, though trying to copy it in just about every single sense of the word.
Yeah, I mean, I would say that this is less trying to copy like a Batman and is more of like trying to be more of like a 1930s like Universal monster movie.
I can see that, but again, I have flippant words about this movie.
Because the bandages on his face looks a lot like the Invisible Man, and just the way things are shot and stuff, it looks to me a lot like they're aping like a 1930s Universal monster film. Because Darkman is more of like a tragic figure than Batman. Like Batman can just kind of like take the costume off and can like just be Bruce Wayne and have like a normal life if he chose
Yeah,
to.
yeah, yeah, with something like that.
Whereas Westlake can't because his face is all fucked up.
Yeah, yeah, in that sort of sense. No, I can see that. Again, I think just with the emotional sort of damage of things, people would probably still kind of have the same reaction to both of them. Though, again, both of their situations are very different.
Yeah, no, I definitely think there are parallels though as well. Yeah.
Mhm.
So okay, what did you like about the movie?
On whole, most everything was fairly good, even though the jokey sections of it were a decent point of ridiculous. It was the kind of ridiculousness I was up for, and it kind of kept with most everything that I kind of did. And even just with the old fashioned effects that they did use, I kind of added a little bit to the charm of the movie.
Yep.
Uh, no, I think just on whole, it was a nice sort of thing to watch, and it wasn't as bad as I was expecting it to be.
Okay. So I hadn't seen this movie for I'm gonna say like 23. I think I saw this recorded off of either I think it was TBS because I don't think we got TNT in this part of Canada at the time, if memory serves. But I could be wrong.
Not that late back, I don't think so.
I don't think we get TNT now, but I don't know because I've never looked.
Yeah.
No, I don't think we do because like AEW is a TNT product and it's on like TSN here. So I don't think we get
Oh,
TNT,
huh.
but I don't know. But we were getting TBS for a while in the '90s, I think.
Yeah, yeah, sometime during that. I remember that.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure a friend recorded this off of TBS, and I watched it at their place one time.
Uh huh.
I remembered like two scenes from this movie. So like the opening in like the warehouse,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
was like, oh yeah, totally remember this. And then when
How
he's
much do you remember? Is it just that one particular scene from that opening?
it's basically just like the gunfight in the warehouse. I'm like, oh, okay, this is familiar. And then
Pretty,
the part where
pretty
he's
much
hanging
the.
off the helicopter near the end.
Oh, okay, yeah, that part.
Everything else,
This,
I was like, nah,
yeah, he kind of phased out during the movie, and it's like I don't remember any of this.
nope.
But no, I can definitely see with those two particular parts, especially with the helicopters one, where it was like, okay, this is where most of the budget went.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. Actually, the fight on the building that's being like constructed, that's actually I thought that was
Yeah,
pretty
yeah,
cool.
and fight. Yeah, yeah. With that one, it was definitely good.
I like that setting, like where it's like they're both having to walk on these like steel girders and stuff. So it's like they're
Fairly
they're fighting,
precarious.
but they also it's very precarious. I'm
Mm.
a big fan of stuff like that.
But yeah, I'm not too surprised that you remember the gunfight at the very start, since it starts out fairly memorably with checking all the guys for guns, making sure they don't got anything. But surprise, the fake leg's a gun.
And also the dude cutting off people's fingers with his cigar thing.
Yeah, that definitely makes a point. Oh, additionally, he has 7 more points.
It's like the worst joke, but it's very funny.
It's like, ugh,
Oh,
that guy is not going to be able to do anything.
it's such a good like villain thing.
Hmm.
Alrighty. So, I'm assuming you recognize some people in the cast.
I do, but as for any sort of names or anything like that, I could not tell you in any sort of way.
Okay.
But I recognized a couple of people as like, okay, I could see this. But especially with the lead, I was kind of like, hmm, hmm.
Okay. So the lead, who plays Peyton Westlake slash Darkman, that's Liam Neeson,
Yes, Liam Neeson.
who most people would probably be more familiar. Um, so around the time he would have been like a decent star, like he would have done like a fair bit.
I'm
Uh,
sure around that time.
he would have gone on to be in bigger movies like Star Wars Episode One. What else? Episode Two. He was in one of the
Yep,
Chronicles of
all
Narnia
that stuff.
movies. Oh, he did
I
this
think,
little franchise called Taken.
yeah, with that, it's mostly kind of the case of the thing he was memed for a lot a couple years back. It's like,
No,
I
and yeah,
swear, if
it's
you heard, I will find you. I will kill you.
and also the Gray. I feel like the Gray got memed a lot.
Yeah.
That's the one where he's in like the Yukon or Alaska or something. I think he fights like a wolf or something in it.
Oh, okay, with that one there.
Yeah. So he's definitely had like a resurgence recently, but he would have been like a decent sized star at the time.
No.
Also playing his girlfriend, I can't remember what's her name. Julie Hastings was Frances McDermott, who is a name you probably don't know, but you definitely have seen her in a bunch of stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
So she had done a movie called Blood Simple and Raising Arizona, and a few others prior to this. But after this, she would go on to do Fargo. What are some other ones that you might know? Oh, she was in Aeon Flux,
Hmm.
but not the anime.
Hmm.
Don't hold that against her.
Yeah.
She's done like Hail Caesar and a bunch of other stuff.
Yeah, yeah, with all that sort of stuff there.
Oh, she was in Hill Street Blues too. That's cool.
Yeah, yeah.
Anyway, those are really the most recognizable people in the cast, I would say, other than
Well,
Larry Drake,
aside
who
from
plays
the
the who plays Durant.
yes, yes, but I think the biggest one is the one that was right at the end. It's like shows his face and it's like, oh, he's in this movie. How much did they pay him?
Who do you mean?
The name of the actor escapes me, but it's from the. I'm not sure if I have the series right, but the Evil Dead movie series that he's in.
Yes.
Or,
Okay. Yes. Yes. So here's Bruce Campbell is who you're thinking of.
yes.
So the idea was, basically Sam Raimi, who is one of the writers and directed the film, was like, well, we're not going to get Liam Neeson back to do a sequel because
Yeah.
he's going to be too big of a star. He's not going to want to come back and do another one.
Right.
Hey, wait, I'm buddies with Bruce Campbell. Let's put a teaser in at the end of the film showing that like Liam Neeson has basically turned into Bruce Campbell, and then we can just get Bruce Campbell to do the sequels.
There you go. Have it so that they can continue on with that sort of stuff. And despite the cost of having to do all the makeup and other sorts of things from there, you don't need to have the first actor if he's not going to be able to make it.
The funny thing is, Bruce Campbell isn't in either of the sequels.
Hmm. Hmm. Wonder how that worked.
They got a different guy because he wasn't available. He was doing something else because those were.
Oh, yeah.
What would he have been doing? He might have been doing like either Congo or The Quick and the Dead or Escape from LA because those all came out kind of when those movies did.
Okay, at around that time. But I think the other thing, it's also Darkman. If he wanted to, he could look like anyone.
Well, exactly, right? You can put anybody in that role and it works, right? They've structured the character in a way that if we lose our main actor, well, we can just throw someone else in.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So let's talk about money for a minute. So, like I alluded to earlier, the budget for this was $14 million.
Okay.
Which, adjusted for inflation today, is about 29 to 30 million. So it was a relatively inexpensive film.
Yeah, at the very most, aside with the helicopters, the sorts of bits from there. Yeah, I wouldn't say that there was too much.
There's like no CGI in it. There's
No, with any of that.
There's a lot of matte paintings, which I'm a big fan of, but most people I don't think would be anymore. It made $33.8 million at the box office, so it was profitable, but not a huge hit. You there, Dave?
Yeah, still here.
Okay. So yeah, it was profitable, but not a huge hit.
Oh, yeah. Well,
enough
the
to
other
get some
particular
sequels.
thing, the one thing is, oh man, this was trying so hard to be a Batman look-alike that it started to get a little bit obnoxious by the end of the video. It's just like, ooh.
I enjoyed it. But again, maybe that's part of that might be because I'm familiar with like the movies that they're kind of paying homage to, like those horror movies of like the 30s. I don't know if you're super familiar with that stuff.
No, in my case, it was more musical with a lot of the movies, especially with the big panning shot of him discovering his new lab area after his accident and going through the whole sequence of the opening, the ending, and using that same sort of thing. Just that one trick of changing one or two notes within a song to make it slightly different, but close enough to what it's homaging, just sort of left me like, ooh.
So,
just like it's trying so hard to sound like a Batman.
Here's the fun part. Guess who did the music for this movie?
I was making notes, so I tried my best to keep an eye on the credits and whatnot that went by at the start, but I think I missed the music one, so I might have missed the name.
So, this composer you've probably never heard of, by the name of Danny Elfman.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Guess what movie he scored in 1989?
I believe it was the second Batman movie?
No, he did the first one. He did both of the Tim Burton ones, yeah.
Yeah.
So there's probably a reason that it sounds a lot like Batman.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, okay. After seeing this, would you want to watch a sequel?
I don't really see the harm in it. It would mostly just be the concern of what direction would they want to take it, or who supposedly would be working on it still. But on whole, I wouldn't mind it.
So the sequel, I have bad news. Well, so Sam Raimi won't be back to direct.
Yeah.
It's getting given to a guy named Bradford May, who I'm not familiar with. Sam Raimi won't be writing it. He won't be getting a story credit, but he will be a producer.
Kind of a case of, yeah, we're here to sort of get things together, but the stuff that's going to be literally written down and whatnot, I'm going to not have much touch on. So,
Yeah, I don't think he really had any say in the sequels. Which, I mean, I feel like you'd want Sam Raimi, because this movie does definitely play more into horror than most other superhero movies, especially at the time. Because, Sam Raimi's a horror director.
I can see that. I can definitely see that. It was, again, I'm not sure if it's just with me, with what I've experienced,
Mm-hmm.
but I can definitely see the elements, but it was kind of tame for the most part. It was definitely a part of the movie, but it was kind of balanced decently with the action and little bit of um, silliness that they had within it.
Oh, yeah, it's definitely him going, like, I have to make this, like, PG-13 so that it can be financially successful, but he's still...
Yeah, yeah.
There's clearly, like, Sam Raimi knows how to scare people. He knows how to make things a bit spoopy.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I enjoyed watching this again. I thought it was fun. It doesn't seem like you were a huge fan of it, though.
On whole, it was definitely a good sort of watch. Yeah, but I think on whole, it wouldn't be anything that I would recommend anyone else that I'd be like, oh, dude, I watched this movie over the weekend. I'd just be like, I watched this one movie. It was mildly neat.
Yeah, I would recommend it to people, but I would recommend it to a certain type of person.
Yeah.
Like, I probably wouldn't recommend this to, like, you or Justin. I'd be like, you're probably not going to get some of the stuff in it. Like those references to, like, the 1930s horror movies and stuff like that, because you've never seen them. I don't think you've ever seen the original Invisible Man or anything like that. But I definitely thought it was fun.
Like that. Yeah.
So, guess what we're going to be watching next week, Dylan? Dylan. That's a guy I work with. Dave.
Great. Another name to add to the list.
Any idea what we might be watching next week?
We got to be working on the sequel?
No, we're gonna leave the Darkman franchise for a little while.
Ooh.
We're gonna go elsewhere. But we are gonna stay. We're gonna go more into horror territory.
Oh joy! It's not even October yet, and we're already getting into the horror. We're just like the shopping districts.
You damn right we are. We're gonna be watching a little movie from 1978.
Okay.
Any ideas what that might be?
You know my history with movies. You know I have no idea.
It's the original Halloween.
Okay.
With Jamie Lee Curtis, directed by John Carpenter.
Come on, brain. You know this.
You're gonna love the movie. You're gonna love the music in the movie. You're gonna love the music.
Yeah.
It's very synth.
Yeah.
Also, I have some great facts about this because this movie was made super on the cheap.
Okay.
They might have had to shoot the movie in like spring or summer, and considering it takes place in fall, they painted leaves.
Oh, so kind of a case of
we need to make this look like fall. So they painted like 100 leaves and would just reuse
prop,
them.
I wonder, would be decent. Because I can't remember what I was watching, but some person was joking about, oh man, this guy's got to get covered in plastic snow. With that sort of stuff. But then it's like, I wonder what they would use for fallen leaves. Like, I'm sure there would be fallen leaf props and whatnot, but would they do that? But since you said it was on the cheap, it's like, what could you get on the cheap that would simulate falling leaves?
Yeah, just get a bunch of leaves and paint them. And then reuse the same 100 leaves like the entire shoot. It's great.
Oh, that's perfect. It's like, do a shoot. It's like, cut, break up the leaves. Break.
Imagine being the guy who gets paid to rake up the, like, painted leaves.
And don't you darn break any of them. I have to break them. It's going to happen.
Yeah, so that'll be next week. So until then, I'm Paul.
I'm Dave.